I'd like to call to order the Hatfield Township Board of Commissioners regular meeting for February 22, 2023. Roll call.
President Zipfel.
Here.
Vice President Rogers.
Here.
Commissioner Andrus.
Here.
Commissioner Lees.
Here.
Commissioner Zimmerman.
Here.
I'd like to ask Commissioner Lees to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this evening.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, justice for all.
All right, before we begin, I need to announce that the commissioners met in executive session to discuss personnel before tonight's meeting. Is there a motion for approval of tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Vice President Rogers.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lees. Any questions or comments? All right, I'll call the question. All in favor of approving the agenda before you, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved, and we can move ahead with the agenda before us. Consent items. Is there a motion to move the consent items into the record?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Lees.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Zimmerman. Those consent items are the Board of Commissioners regular meeting minutes of January 25, the Board of Commissioners workshop meeting minutes of February 8, the Treasurer's report for the month of February, bills payable, paid bills in the amount of $151,762.38, and unpaid bills in the amount of $235,542.68. With that, I'll call the question, unless there's any questions or comments, I will call the question. All in favor of moving those consent items into the record, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. Citizens' comments. Are there any citizens' comments on agenda items only? Oh, not hearing any. Well, then we are going to start off with a special treat that we have. Ms. Taylor, oh, there she is. Okay. Thank you for coming back. We're excited to have you, and we know that you've brought a number of North Penn school students, high school students with you. And for, I think this is our second year, right? We're very excited to have you give a presentation. The floor is yours.
All right, great. So since we last were here, we had a retreat in December, the Student Ambassadors Program that is encompassing 8 school districts. And I have been trying to pull it off for 3 years, but it was really focused on taking a step back, looking at the tenets of the program, and talking about leadership. And I just wanted to share 2 components for the community and for you guys to kind of put in perspective why their presentation is important. With the Student Ambassadors Program, we focus on cultural proficiency and social justice. And I want to just reiterate what cultural proficiency is and what social justice is and what I'm trying to instill in these young people. So cultural proficiency is the knowledge, skills, attitudes, and beliefs that enable people to work well together, respond effectively to, and be supportive of people in cross-cultural settings. That's a skill base for people, and that's what I'm trying to instill in them, so when they leave high school, they can go into different settings and commune. And the social justice piece is having the view, embracing the view that everyone deserves equal economic, political, and social rights and opportunities. So again, my role in this as the consultant for the group is to make sure that these kids get everything they can, get exposure and resources so they can build off of what's inside of them. And I just wanted to share, we focused on 7 tenets of leadership. I called it the 7 C's of leadership: consciousness of self, congruence, commitment, collaboration, common purpose, controversy with civility, helping them understand and navigate through situations that could be volatile, but do it with civility. And the last one is community and citizenship. So this year we're focused on encompassing all of those components of cultural proficiency, social justice, and these leadership tenets so they can be able to come to a situation like this and express their opinions and express their perspective so they can enlighten you, but we, as a community of people, embrace their perspective. And that's really the whole tone setting here. And so when I looked at the students' presentation and I talked to Jordanis, I really wanted to ask her, what did she see as a theme? So tonight, they're gonna focus on their timeline, their perseverance, and why the work must continue. So, Donis, do you want to start off, please? Jayla's going to start? Okay.
What's the agenda?
Oh, you go.
Hello, I'm Jayla Prince, and I'm from the Cultural Proficiency and Equity Student Ambassadors. And today we'll be talking about Black history and how it ties into American history. We're going to be talking about why do we have Black History Month, Black History in America, and this is presented by Jared Robinson, Jordanos Lemma, Karina LaVenture, Ayla Jamison, and Jayla Prince. Myself. Thank you.
If you could go to the next one, thank you. So Black History Month is a month to focus not only on the contributions Black Americans bring to the United States, but honors how Black people all over the diaspora. Since its development in 1915, it's provided a spotlight to commemorate the culture and history of Black Americans despite the oppressive policies. When we understand the importance of Black History Month, we make sense of the past to understand how it shapes our future.
Okay, so first we have Brown versus Board and Plessy versus Ferguson, which is May 17th, 1954. On May 17th, 1954, the court ruled in favor of Brown in the Brown versus Board of Education case, establishing that segregation schools is unconstitutional. They also ruled that separate accommodations based on race were inherently unequal and so unconstitutional, overturning the Plessy versus Ferguson case from 1896. Next, we have the March on Washington, which is August 28th, 1963. The March on Washington was a massive protest in which hundreds of thousands marched in front of the Lincoln Memorial to protest continued racial inequalities and discrimination in the workplace, education, voting rights, and more. It was here that Martin Luther King Jr. gave his famous "I Have a Dream" speech. Next is Civil Rights Act of 1964. On July 2nd, 1964, President Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act outlawing discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, and national origin. This included literacy tests made to inhibit voting for Black people, discriminatory employment practices, and segregation in businesses like theaters and restaurants. Last, we have the 2014 BLM protests. The 2014 Black Lives Matter protests were a series of demonstrations and civil unrest in the United States, sparked by the killing of unarmed Black teenager Michael Brown by a white police officer in Ferguson, Missouri. This spurred discussion to increase public awareness and bring attention to the issue of racial inequality in the United States. The protests are also spurred a broader national conversation about race, justice, and the role of law enforcement in communities of color. Well, I didn't actually do this slide, but what does it mean to me? Well, these four, in general, well, it just helps explain what us people as African Americans or Black people had to experience and just go through this throughout history. like recently, but also all the way back, starting from like Martin Luther King and before like times like that.
Hi, how you guys doing? I'm Jared Robinson. Nice to see you all again. Okay. Did it change? No, it didn't change. Not changing. Oh, it did change. Wait. Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay, so did you know? Black History Month was originally Negro History Week, created by African American historian Carter G. Woodson. When the celebration was extended to a month, they chose the month of February, in which the birthdays of Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass fell. And Rosa Parks is the most memorable for protesting in her seat at the front of the bus, but that had been done before her by Claudette Colvin. Rosa Parks was chosen to do it again because she was lighter skinned and older. I actually I learned in English class we're reading Frederick Douglass right now, and I actually cried the other day because we read this scene about how Frederick Douglass's aunt got whipped and he could see the blood splatter and how that was a defining moment in his life, and how he that moment is what made him want to make a change in his life. And it just kind of hurt me because the fact that I guess my ancestors, in a way, not really, my people could endure that for all those years, and then now here we are still trying to fight for equality in a way, and make change. It kind of just, it really struck me and my whole class. And there's people in my class that they were like, oh, I feel uncomfortable when the school forces Frederick Douglass and forces kids to read stuff about culture and equality and stuff like that. But I think they should do more of it so people feel more comfortable and feel more oh my God, I'm blanking. So they just so it's not, so they don't feel uncomfortable talking about it, and so we actually make a change to what we're doing.
Hi everyone, my name is Karina LaVenture. This quote is, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward, by Martin Luther King Jr. And this quote means that little inconveniences shouldn't stop you from continuing to do what you desire. No matter what, keep moving forward. And I think this can apply to specifically Black History Month, because we have faced so many obstacles to keep us from getting to the point where we are right now. And just us being here, giving this presentation, having Black History Month exist, just shows how much perseverance there is. Okay, so the Black Power movement. The Black Power movement was a bunch of counterculture within the civil rights movement of the United States, reacting against its more moderate, mainstream tendencies and motivated by a desire for safety and self-sufficiency that was not available inside red-lined African American neighborhoods. And then finally, our last quote, I'm America. I am the part you won't recognize, but get used to me. Black, confident, cocky. My name, not yours. My religion, not yours. My goals, my own. Get used to me. By Muhammad Ali.
So, for all of you to get up here for a second, because I want the whole community to see you. I want to ask you guys one last question. You two, yes, Jared. So, now what? So when we talk about what we have to do, you guys are doing a project at the School Against Hate. It's Black History Month. You guys are juniors and seniors. Now what? What else do you want the community to know that because this month is designated to raise awareness about the plight of Black people in America, what do you guys want to do individually or collectively moving forward? What is something you'd want to do?
I think something we would want to do within our school or even our community as a whole, I think it would be nice for us to do a project that acknowledges the struggles and hardships that those who are disadvantaged go through in America, because I think people don't realize how big of an issue that is. And I think it would be nice collectively as a whole if we made some sort of initiative or project to address that.
And kind of to what she said, I think once we do that, it'll be easier for people to stop saying like, oh, like this makes me uncomfortable. And they'll actually like, it'll click in their brain that this is actually a problem that needs to be solved. And like, I mean, one step at a time, obviously. But I feel like if we do a project like that, we can,
make it better,
make
right?
it
Because
better,
that's
yeah.
really the whole point here. The whole point is giving you guys the equipment and the tools to go out in the community and educate them, but educate yourselves so you can be catalysts for change and for positive change. And I think what's really important here is that we express that all of this is to build and strengthen them, to strengthen all of you so we can work together. And I think one of the other things that's vitally important is constant intergenerational conversations. And there's things that older Americans can offer in perspective with them not being here. And I thought that's what I liked about the timeline, that you can go back from the 60s, but look at where we are with the BLM protest and look at that timeline, right? And some people will say that the story hasn't changed, it's just a different era. Struggle hasn't changed. So I just wanted to point that out, and I wanted to catch them off guard with not some presupposed questions, because I think organic candor is what's really important here. So I just want to give kudos to you guys again for allowing the space for these young people to come and share with you, and want to just keep on continuing this relationship. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
So a couple of things come to mind. First is, I want to thank all of you, right? Not just Ms. Taylor, but the students in particular. So, you know, when I was in high school, there's no way anyone would have gotten me up to a podium in front of a township and, you know, done anything like what you've done. That was incredible. That was greatly appreciated. And maybe if I can help you kind of put it through, take a look at this evening through our eyes. What you just did this evening is allowed us, not just the people here, but all of Hatfield, celebrate Black History Month. Because, you know, there might not be an opportunity or time in other people's lives when they have an opportunity to hear the history or to have the conversation or to hear perspectives. And so you just did that not just for the people in this room, but for roughly 18,000 residents. Now, they don't all watch. We wish they did, but we really appreciate that, and we're very appreciative that you spent the time to do that and that you came in and you did such an incredible job. So thank you very much. And if Ms. Taylor will come back next year, put it down in your calendar, please.
I'd like to thank you guys, and you know, I got the opportunity to be at Black History Month last week at North Penn High School. What a fantastic job that you guys did over there. The dancing was incredible, and you know, everybody presented themselves so well, and I appreciate probably one the most.
Great.
At the risk of embarrassing him, there's a relative of one of the commissioners or staff who's up here, so he's particularly fond and proud of one of the presenters tonight. So well done for all of you, but in one in particular. So thank you again. We greatly appreciate it. Residents, I don't know if anybody has any questions or comments. If not, we'll get into the boring stuff, which is the action items or discussion items. Not nearly as interesting or as exciting. This is the part where each of you looks at each other and says, can we politely get out of this room? And the answer is yes. You're okay. You can head out if you like. Or if you want, you can stick around. You're welcome to stick around too.
It's a great program. We're going to talk about the municipal authority, the sewer system.
Might be the worst transition of
It might,
mankind.
yeah, I would say so. Pete, we are driving the crowd out of the room.
Happy about that.
That's right. Well, we have one discussion item for this evening, and, oh yeah, absolutely. We do have one discussion item for this evening. It is related to the HTMA. It is the 2023 to 2024 budget presentation. Pete Dorney is the executive director. Not the most exciting transition, as our township manager just described, but a remarkably important function and an incredibly important function that you provide for us, that you oversee, and we are eternally grateful that you do this. And for as long as I've been a commissioner, and I know you've held this position for years, we're going to hold on to you and try and keep you there forever. So thank you for coming out and doing what you do.
Welcome. So I know I got a phone, text, whatever you call those things, late.
You're very current on that.
And this is it. So I haven't really had a chance to look at it
What
closely.
this
But
is,
he
Pete,
puts together the PowerPoints for me because I'm like old school, don't know how to do that kind of stuff.
Pete, if you stick to your narrative, right? If you stick to what you
Okay.
have in the packet and your narrative,
All right.
we will supplement it
Well-
with some fancy pictures.
I'm going to wing it. I'm not going to read it. So, got a little better at that. So anyway, yeah, as you know, tonight I'm here to present our budget for the next fiscal year, which begins April 1st. As you also, well, as you also know, I've been here for quite a number of times, over 28 years that I've been the executive director, but I haven't been here too much to talk about rate increases. And unfortunately, we have to talk about one tonight. The last time we had one was 2018, and the time before that was 2013. And they usually come about every 5 years. Well, we're 5 years out from 2018. Most of the time, they are modest increases, $2, $3 a month. Unfortunately, this time it's going to be $4 a month. And let me tell you why. We're at a crossroads in Hatfield Township. There's about 3 reasons. We're at a crossroads in Hatfield Township where the revenue that we receive from an increase in sewer rentals because of increased development, mostly of residential, has slowed down significantly. That, over the years, has kept up with increase in costs. Well, the gap has gotten smaller and smaller and smaller over the years as costs have increased, with the exception of the Bound property, which came recently. That pretty much kept us from coming and asking for a rate increase last year. But we don't see much of that on the horizon anymore. The big lots of land, the 250 and 300 housing units that used to pop up all through Hatfield Township. But costs keep on going up. Second reason is some of the residents might not know, but I think the board members know by now that we augment our revenue for the sewer plant by bringing in trucked waste. Septic tank waste, holding tank waste. We dispose of sludge from other townships. That has dwindled over the years, mostly because of competition. A lot of these little plants in the area have caught on that it's a revenue-generating business, and they may take 5%. This one over here takes 10%, but it cuts into the revenue that actually has been coming to us over the years. So that's decreased. But thirdly, the costs this year have just blindsided us, the increase in costs. Our electric costs has gone up 36%. And when you start with a $35,000 a month electric bill, 36% is a lot of money. Our chemical costs have gone up 36%. And we're dependent on those chemical costs, those chemicals, to meet our effluent criteria. Our maintenance has gone up 31%. Because of, a lot of it's because of supply and demand. People can pretty much price what they want right now because you can't get the parts, you can't get the electronics. You have to wait 2 years for some of the parts that you're asking for. We have a project planned that we thought was going to be planned for next year. And I'm told that some of these parts that we want to get are 52 weeks to 2 years for delivery. We're talking about large transformers. We have to completely overhaul our electric grid in the plant. And last but not least, we have quite a few retirements coming up in the next couple of years. Not mine, but a few of the other staff. Probably 4 to 6 people are going to be retiring. So we have to carry a couple extra employees, which is extra money, so that we can train them. So as these people retire, they'll be able to go right in, and we'll be able to maintain the service that we do provide now. So as I said, our intention is for a $4 a month increase. I've presented, and I should turn around, I guess, a little bit. Oh, geez. Oh, yeah, lab supplies, I forgot about that. That's a large one, too. That's like over $100,000 in the last 2 years that's increased. We just got a new permit, and with a new permit, DEP slaps on a condition to us that's a $30,000 to $35,000 increase in lab testing. Plus, they just gave us our new permit and increased all our testing. Probably about 10 additional parameters that we have to send out for testing, so the lab expenses has gone up considerably. And this has all hit us within the last year and a half.
Pete, is that commonly referred to as an unfunded mandate?
There's no funding for any of the operational expenses anymore.
Yeah.
I think I did give you information that in the past we used to have funding for through the state for operational help.
Right.
They took that away from us. That was $500,000 a year. But there is no money available for operational expenses. We're hoping to get grants for our projects. We got one recently, which is a big help. We have more big projects coming up. We hope to get some grants for them. But right now we have $12 million worth of projects on the table for our capital projects. And yeah, and that's just in the next 3 years.
And no state support for those?
Other than the potential for getting grants.
Right.
Other than, no state support. They got out of the business of helping wastewater treatment plants. No. So anyway,
Pete, I think it's important to show the community, just provide some type of context on rates in the region.
okay. Yeah, if you can see the chart that Aaron made, I did present him with a list of, we keep a running tabs of what other entities, townships, boroughs, authorities pay for sewer rates. And I have a list of about 82 of them. We're, I think, number 70 as far as the cost. It means there's 70 above us as far as cost more than what we do. They range anywhere from a little bit below us up to $300 a quarter for sewer rates. Now, I know people don't want to hear, they don't care about what other people pay. They want to hear just that they don't have to pay anymore. But it's just a comparison of what other places are charging. Rate increases right now that you've seen in the newspapers are 30% on top of sewer bills that are already $60 a month. We always try to keep it as low as we can. Truth be told, in hindsight, if we could go back, maybe we would have increased it a little bit more over the last 5 years. But nobody really saw, I didn't see this year coming as far as the costs. It just, like I said, blindsided us. I hope that those costs go down in the next couple of years, electric, natural gas, sometimes they do. But I'm not very hopeful on the electric part of it because everybody's buying up everything as far as electric parts for this conversion to electric vehicles and things like that. So.
Pete, the increase you had mentioned is, what did you say, how much per month?
$4 a month, $12 per quarter.
Yeah, $4 for each of the 12 months. Yeah, $12, just so there's clarity.
Correct, $12 a quarter.
Yep.
We do a quarterly bill, but yeah.
So people can expect something of if this is approved, something about a $12 increase from what they currently pay per quarter.
$4 a month, $48 a year, $12 a quarter. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Just put it in perspective for
Yes.
everybody.
Yep.
Okay.
Pete, the average bill right now per quarter is?
$330. Not per quarter. It's $330 annually. So that's 80. 330 divided by 4, 82.50.
8250.
Okay.
It'll go up $12 to 94.50.
You mentioned supply issues. Is there anything authority that we, critical to us, that do we have spares? Are we able to overcome a failure in a plant?
Well, we try to keep spares for a lot of equipment, big motors, big gearboxes, that kind of thing. The project that we're working on right now is the transformers. That's a big one. There's no spares for them. But we have two sources coming in. We have two different power sources coming in. So if one source would go, we have the other. We could get generators in. We could do that kind of thing. So we can't hold every spare part because it's just too cost prohibitive. But we try to hold a lot of spare parts.
Generator option, is that something that if you had to effectuate a plan tomorrow, you have contacts to call to get the generator on plant?
Yes.
On site?
Yes, we have a contractor, a local contractor, who is on an emergency basis for us. He's very good. He's always been right on the spot. Plus, we have our own generators at each site. So we actually have two power sources come in, and then we have a generator, 3 generators for the different places in the plant. But if we would have to get a bigger generator in for the whole plant, he's available. Yep. He might even have some transformers that we could rent.
Source would keep you running for how long?
Pardon?
You had to run generators, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you had to run them for 24 hours. Your capacity to run is how long?
About 48 hours. Yep.
Have the, I guess, the resupply source, if you had to run more than 48 hours, do you have connections with supply to bring that
We
fuel
do
in?
with Suburban, and also there are times that we just go up to the Shell gas station and get some diesel fuel. We've never had an outage longer than 24 hours.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions, commissioners, residents? Pete, anything else as far as your report?
Oh, no, I'm good. I'm done.
Okay, and then that gets presented to us, and then that's would be an action item for us next meeting. Is that right?
Correct, yeah. The board considers approval of the budget every March fiscal calendar, April 1 for the sewer authority.
Pete, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks,
I
Pete.
would like to thank you for everything you do for our community. You're at the very end of the pipeline, right? HTMA provides a very good service for our community, and a lot of municipalities are going into privatization, and I'm glad that you guys are staying on top of things so that we don't even have to look at something like that.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thanks, Pete.
Pete.
All right. Aaron, anything else?
The only thing I'd like to add, commissioners, just to piggyback off of what Vice President Rogers said, is that some of these rates that you see today, they're going to be significantly higher as they privatize, right? Some of our neighboring communities that are profit business that is acquiring these, you're going to guarantee a higher rate than any public entity. So this is just a snapshot today. It's going to change significantly, but this is clear. Shows how well our authority manages costs and provides maybe the most essential, no offense to Chief and what he does, but the most essential service provided here at local government is done through the authority.
Yeah. Thanks again, Pete. And to, not just to you, but to the entire staff. And the board members who are joined us this evening, who volunteer to help be decision makers and help run the organization. Thank you. All right. If there's nothing else, citizens' comments. Are there any citizens' comments on agenda items or otherwise? No, then it's a shorter meeting tonight. We thank everyone for coming out, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Lees.
Second.
Second by Vice President Rogers. Any questions or comments? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, we're adjourned. Thanks for coming out, folks.